Hello children, welcome back to the unit of inquiry class. So today we are going to discuss about the landforms and settlements. Of course, there has been a little gap in uploading the video just because you were inquiring and you were enhancing your research skills in that period of time. So today we'll discuss both the landforms and settlements. We'll just go through what are the types of landforms and forms of settlements. So of course we have discussed a lot about the types of landforms and what they are through a video and through A to Z booklet reading. So just I will take you through the names alone. So landforms are nothing but they are a shape or feature of the earth's surface. So when you look at the earth or when you look at the ground, you see different features available there, isn't it? So it's a natural feature. So that is what a landform is called as. If you see, if you talk about the landforms, the most common ones are here, like mountains, hills, valleys, desert, plains, plateaus. Okay, so apart from this, there are lots and lots of landforms like island, then isthmus, many are there, right? So they have got their own purpose behind them, right? The way they were formed, why they are like this, what is their difference? Okay, so we all discussed this about long ago, and this was done through a reading of A to Z booklet called as Landforms Adventure, where a student has already studied about the landforms in the class, and the teacher, Mr. Lopez, has listed the landforms, and the child, when he or she was visiting somewhere, like traveling, that child inquired a lot about these places, what he or she learnt, and that child connected it with the learning. So there we inquired a lot about the different types of landforms, and also we watched a video where the formation of each and every landform is very much clear, explained clearly. So this is what a landform is called. So we have to learn landform to know how the settlements are happening, because of course the landforms affect the, or you can say, impact the settlements of people, right? So this is our motive behind learning about landforms, because we are inquiring about where we are in place and time, and we are discussing about the settlements and landforms, of course. So now this is a glimpse of the inquiry. So why there was a delay in this video is because I had given you a task long before. I asked you to choose two countries from different continents. So in order to choose two countries from different continents, you should be well versed with the names of the continents, the differences between them, right? So we played a lot of mapping game, where you map the names of the continents and the oceans through the WordWall website, and that is where I understood that you all have excelled in doing that. You are very thorough with the names of the continents and somewhat the mapping of the countries also. So this task helped you to enhance your research skill. Of course, I can see that there is an example of one of the students' work here. Of course, every student's work was outstanding and amazing. So after you chose two countries from different continents, I asked you to compare and contrast those two countries only based upon the landforms. So here you can see the child has also compared and contrasted the size of the country, the climate, the different landforms, what is very good there, right? So what is common in those countries? So everything was done very clearly, and I can see that you have connected your learning of the landforms and the continents with the the countries that you have chosen. So whatever you have done a great job by that. So this was the task, and this you did a great job by researching also. I could see that most of you developed your research skills through this, because I didn't help you in any way. I just gave you the task. You did a beautiful job by this. Okay, so that's great. I really appreciate each and every one of you for doing this task in a very beautiful way. So now, once you finish the landforms, I told you that the landforms definitely affects or impacts the settlement pattern, right? So to go into the settlement, I asked you two questions. What do you mean by settlement, and why do you think people go and settle in a particular settlement? So this was the question given to you, and very beautifully you just broke the, the obstacles there by giving me a lot and lots of answers, different perspectives. I could see different perspectives and they all were right. Okay, I don't have any difference in opinion because every one answered according to your, perspective, and that I really respect that. So a settlement is nothing but it's a place where people live. Okay. So of course, when you talk about the settlements, of course you can see there is a landform, right? There is no place without a landform. Even a plain is called as a landform, right? So a settlement is a place where people live, and it may be as small as a single house in a remote area, an isolated place where only one house will be there sometimes. That is called as a remote area. Or a settlement can be like a mega city, a city with over 10 million residents. That is, many people will be there, lots and lots of houses will be there clustered together. Okay, so settlement can be in any way. Okay, you cannot say a settlement, a town is only a settlement, a village is only a settlement. Everything is a settlement. Wherever people go and live, that place is considered to be a settlement. And wherever people are going and living in a settlement, that settlement of course has got a landform. Okay, so the settlement and landform are connected with each other. Okay. Now, this was a brainstorming session for you where I asked you to reflect your thoughts on where do you live and what are the kinds of landforms there. And I could see beautiful reflection from you people because you had, connected your learning again with the landforms. You just did a fantabulous job by differentiating the landforms, and also you gave me the answers for the types of settlements you are in, whether you are in, city or in a village. That was reflected in a very beautiful way. So it shows that how much you are very much enhanced, very much interested, and how much you have enhanced your research skills here. That's really great. So now when we talk about the settlements, it can be divided into two. One is the temporary and the other one is the permanent, right? So temporary is like people don't live there for a long time. Just they finish off their work there, whatever reason they went there for, they finish it off and they come back to where they, usually go and live, right? Maybe they go to their hometown back or where they were before. So temporary, we don't have to do anything with that because temporary settlement has got its own, like purposes. Of course, permanent too has its own purposes, but it differs, right? Now, permanent settlement is again divided into two, that is rural and urban. So permanent settlements is nothing but where people go and live for a long time. They are settled there, they won't move from there. Of course, they may go for vacations, that is different. But once they finish all their work, they come back to their permanent settlement. So people who are going for a temporary settlement, they return back to their permanent settlements. Like that, you can keep it in the mind. And that's why the permanent is differentiated into rural and urban. Again, if you talk about rural, rural is separated, like it is divided into isolated and the compact settlement. So we'll discuss about this in detail now. So the picture clearly shows you the difference between urban and rural. So there is no need of explanation. So if you see the way the urban is and rural is, of course, it's nothing but a rural settlement is the settlement of areas outside the cities, like, villages, we call them villages. So some of the villages like nearby your city, they are rural areas. Okay, so these areas are called as rural settlement, and you can see the pictures. And here the thing is that the population is very low, and economic activities, what are the most common economic activities there? They are farming, mining, forestry. So they depend upon the population there, they are very low, and as well as they depend upon farming, mining, everything. Okay, so that is the rural settlement. And when you talk about the rural settlement, we discussed there, one was isolated and one was the compact. So here the nuclear settlement, that is the other name, for the isolated dwelling, that is isolated settlement. So in nucleated settlement, you can see houses are, clustered together around the middle point. So if you see at the picture, the houses are clustered in the middle and there is a big gap. So this gap is the land where they do farming, mining, forestry. They can do whatever they want because that is their job. Okay, so they mostly depend upon the agriculture. And here dispersed settlement, that is the isolated one, as I told you, because they are isolated. You can see houses are spread out with no set pattern. So one house will be here, there will be a long gap there, then they may have any other house there, again there would be a gap, again they will have a a gap there, and a house. So dispersed settlement is the isolated dwelling, and nucleated settlement is the compact settlement. Okay, compact means they are clustered. That doesn't mean that they are crowded. The houses won't be much crowded here. Here also we can find the space, but not like the isolated dwelling. Isolated means something which is alone. Okay, so that is what is the difference. So rural settlement has got not only this, there are many kinds of rural settlements there if you research a lot. Okay, so these are the common types of rural settlement. Now when you talk about the urban settlement, they are bigger than the rural settlement. That is of course because you can see how the places are, right? And smaller urban areas are called as towns. So the smaller portion of the urban area, they are called as towns. Larger urban areas are called as cities, where we are living now, right? That is what you connected your learning to, right? And people work in buildings such as shopping centers, offices and factories, and some work on the streets as vendors. So you can see there are lots of opportunities for people in the urban settlement. That is the one of the reasons why people move from the rural settlement to the urban settlement. And this was also discussed in the class. Many of you told that answer, many of you came up with that reflection, which really amazed me, because at this age you have got a lot of knowledge about that. And even one of you said that said the economic activities about in the rural areas, about the farming, about the agriculture. That was really wonderful. You have the knowledge in that, so that's really great. Okay, so this is what an urban settlement is. So urban settlement is nothing but the cities and towns, a big and if you look at the buildings, they will be really crowded. You won't have any space at all. Only the road where we are traveling, only that is empty there. Empty in the sense, only that place doesn't have the houses and buildings. Other than that, everywhere it is covered, right? So that is what the urban settlement is. And one of the major difference between rural and urban settlement is nothing but rural, they are large areas. They too are large areas. Rural doesn't mean that it is a small place. Okay, it doesn't mean, when you say village, it doesn't mean that village is a small area and city is very big. It's not like that. The facilities, you have to look at the population there, you have to look at the facilities there. That's why a place is called rural, because if you look at the villages and if you compare it with the city, the facilities available in the cities won't be available in the rural areas like villages, right? So that is why they are called as villages. Okay, so the large areas with low concentration of people, less population areas, the place will be very big, okay, but the people there will be very less. And that is the main reason why the houses are either nucleated or either dispersed, because they have a lot of space, right? But urban areas are smaller areas with high concentration. This is what you need to understand. City doesn't mean a city is bigger than village. A city may be a smaller part, but the number of buildings there, the number of people living there are more. And the reason is, as you said me, is because they have lots of opportunities in the cities. That's why people from rural areas, they move to the urban areas and they get settled there. Okay, and that settlements can be a permanent settlement or a temporary settlement. That depends upon the opportunity they have. And now when you talk about the hierarchy, the levels, how does this level, how does this landform, or you say the settlement, affect the the people choosing behind or choosing between the permanent and the temporary settlement? Is the first one on the base of the hierarchy is isolated dwelling. As I told you, individual houses from it will be only available for one family. Only one family will be available there. There won't be any services there. So that is isolated dwelling. Only one or two houses will be there. That's it. Okay, when you move up, you can see hamlet. So hamlet is typically less than 100 people with no services. In hamlet, that is a place, a small place, where there will be few houses with 100 people or less than 100 people, and there won't be any services. Only post box will be there. That is the only service available there. Okay, and once you move out of the hamlet, there comes the village. So village is population is typically in hundreds to thousands. Fewer services, example a shop, a village hall, primary school, all these facilities will be there. So compared to the isolated and hamlet, they have a little more facility of a shop, a village hall, a primary school. So this is available there, and the population is also little more. Here it is 100. If you look at the isolated dwelling, only one family is there, maybe 4 or 5 people will be there, and typically less than 100 in the hamlet, and typically hundreds to thousand in the village. Now after you move out of a village, there comes the town, and in town a population of 1000 to 20,000 with chain stores. Okay, you can see, and it boots along with the hospital. It has got those chain of places, may have hospital, may have a sports center, may have a secondary school. Okay, so all these facilities are available in the town. And once you move out of the towns, there comes the city, and these settlements can be in excess of 1 lakh. Cities have a large shopping center. So the excess of 1 lakh, in the sense 1 lakh of population will be available there, and cities have large shopping centers. Okay, malls, as you said me, railway stations, theaters, and airport will be available, because the cities, population is more there, so the services should also be there, enhanced much. Okay. And next, the last is, once you move out of there, you find the conurbation, where typically a population of several million people will be there, with many, that is example of government offices will be there, banking headquarters, museum, art galleries, universities. So when you look at the facilities itself, you can identify why are people moving from isolated dwelling and they reach the conurbation. There are lots and lots of purposes. Of course, these purposes will be discussed in the next class with clear brainstorming sessions. Okay, now once I finish this session, I asked you to think of your settlement again, where you reflected on where you live and what are the landforms there. I asked you to reflect on that back again, because I wanted you to list out certain services, what is existing there, and that was also really nice, because you all shared with me what are the services available in your area of living, right? That was really great. And now this is the difference in services between rural and urban. Of course, we know what is the difference between rural and urban. These are the services, the difference of services. So now when you compare, when you take the common services, when someone is asking you what are the services, definitely you can say the services are nothing but the health, education, shopping, finance, transport. These are the major basic services that a person needs. Okay, so when you compare the health services in rural settlements and urban settlements, in rural settlements there will be medical clinic, but when you compare it with the urban, there will be hospital. So hospital will have different branches of things will be available there, different doctors will be there. In one hospital itself you can find different kinds of doctor there. Okay, for different purposes. But in medical clinic you cannot treat for a bigger disease, like you said, one of you said, if we are suffering from cancer, we cannot go to the medical clinic and get the medicine there. It's not for that purpose. Once you get a fever or a small injury, you can cure it there, but if something big happens, we definitely have to visit a hospital. So this is where people have to travel for the hospital visits from rural to the urban settlements. When you talk about the education, in rural settlement, the education is primary school, only primary level, like we say PYP, the same way, the primary level. But in urban settlement, you can get educated till university. So this is also one of the reason why people move from one place to another, from rural to urban. When you talk about the shopping, in rural settlement, general store and markets are available, whereas in urban settlement, shopping malls are available. And when you talk about the finance, you can't find any banks in the rural settlements. Instead, you will have a money lender, you will have a person assigned for that, and cooperative people who will lend you money, and to that person you need to give the money back. Okay, repay that. Of course, you will be learning this in financial literacy, right? And now when you talk about the urban settlement, you can find banks there. Okay, different banks and different branches. Okay, and transport. So if you talk about transport, you will have bus services, but in urban settlements you can find till the airport. So this is these are the few types of difference in the services provided in the rural and settlements. And after that we discussed why do you think people live where do you live, and you gave up the answers like they have maybe because of the services available. Of course, that was right, that is because of the services available then. And how is your settlement changing? So how it is changing, there also you gave many examples of how buildings are, being constructed there. If you, one day nothing will be there and the other day you can see lots and lots of building. Of course it takes time, but that is the changes in the settlement. So I hope that you have understood very clearly about the settlements, about the landforms. In the next class we are going to discuss about the purpose behind these settlements. What are the things that impacts the settlements, and why people move from one settlement to the other. So till I meet you for the next class, take care of your health, stay safe, bye.